The biggest communication problem we have today is that we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. I found that on Twitter, by the way, but think about that for a second. It speaks some truth, doesn't it? Communication is key to be able to socially function properly in today's society, especially in interpersonal speaking. That's what I'll be talking to you people about today. More specifically, what are the 5 principles of communication and how do they apply to interpersonal speaking? Principle 1. Be aware of your communication with yourself and with others. When you talk to someone, usually decide within the first few seconds whether or not you want to continue a conversation with them. If you decide you're uninterested and you don't want to continue a conversation with them, it's not because they're a bad or an annoying person, but because you weren't attracted to their traits. That's what being aware is about. Understanding what traits people like about you and figuring out what traits you like about certain people. That also leads me to my next principle. For example, if you're having a conversation with someone and they don't seem interested, it's important to understand their verbal and nonverbal communication signs of an interest. That doesn't mean that you have to put a mask on to please them, it just means that you're aware of what's going on. When you're communicating, using verbal and nonverbal communication can help make your interpersonal conversation run way smoother. To refer to the previous example, if you're talking to someone and they're showing signs that they're done with the conversation, like turning their shoulder or looking away often, then it'd be logical and respectful for you to end that conversation. But if someone, for example, is asking you questions, asking you for more information on a topic, or using personal language, then it's likely that they're attracted to your traits. In a relationship sense, verbal communication is going to get deeper in the feels as the relationship continues to grow intimately. Another example would be at the workplace. If you and your boss are talking and he's slamming his hand around, then he's probably not happy with you. But if he's joking around or giving you compliments, then you may have a raise coming. The fourth principle is listening and responding. Remember my quote, our biggest communication problem is that we don't listen to understand, we listen to respond. But what does that mean exactly? That means that you should understand what someone's saying to you, process that information, and then respond with empathy. When you show interest in what someone's saying, it makes that person feel a more personal connection to you. In fact, according to right.edu, research has shown that effective listening will increase your information on who you're talking to, increase that person's trust in you, and reduce conflict, to name a few things. Back to the workplace example. Showing good attitude and paying attention to what your boss is saying will show him that you understand what he wants and that you're not just replying to try to end the conversation. Our final principle is appropriately adapt messages to others. The only thing that this means is that you adapt to the conversation topic. If you're talking about cars, then it would only make sense that your questions are about cars. These simple communication principles can in all make communication that much more effective. A simple hand gesture, tone of voice, or emotional connection can make communications more interesting. So don't be self absorbed like half of the population and go out there and start a conversation with someone. You never know how well you could connect with them.